On June 9, 2022, the Canadian entrepreneurs in New England hosted Accelerate, Technology and Innovation. In this company showcase, Chief Executive Officer Thomas O'Keefe led a presentation on Airesun Global to a panel of industry experts.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate CENE sponsorship and Roger's office and moderators. Airesun Global is a company that we're incorporated in 2014, and we make industrial oils from agricultural seed oil. And we had the technology developed to make those different products. Now, where we play best is with oil companies and mitigating the risk that they have to the environment. We thought that we would actually be at odds with them, but as it turns out, they're actually looking for solutions. And so we're getting invited into their board tables to actually help them mitigate the risk of environmental damage. Some of the figures that are here, it's a huge market in the US, 8.3 trillion. This is just in industrial lubricants alone, which is approximately 10 or 12% of the actual petroleum market. This doesn't enter into internal combustion oils. This is all industrial oils. So it's cleaners, metal working fluids, metal forming fluids, release agents, hand cleaners, penetrating oil like WD-40, and another 20 odd products. We're fortunate over the last couple of years to have taken a hiatus actually, because it was kind of, we were a dog chasing a car. We really had some very good initial success. We had some sales in Europe in 2018, and in 2019 I found myself being brought to Dubai and Abu Dhabi because of their need to clean up their backyard and their awareness of that. As a result of that, we landed some very significant contracts, and then we got brought to Sub-Saharan Africa, where we again landed some very significant contracts. So right now, although they were put in a force majeure and they're resurrecting, so by the end of 2022, our contracts will come into play of about 150 million US. Now, these contracts are more about the technology than about the end products. So our technology, we call them an Aeropod, and we're waiting for the lawsuit. Welcome to free publicity. So the Aeropod will produce approximately about 7,000 tons of product a year. So that equates to about 2 million gallons or 7.5 million liters. Gross revenues from that operation is in the range of 32 to 35 million a year. That's on a base averaging price of the end-use product. So the economies of scale are quite substantial. The gross margins, we follow the petroleum model, and they're quite good. Oil company knows how to make money. We just follow their lead. Along with the actual output, the mantra from day one was we had to have products that were non-toxic, non-caustic, and biodegradable. So all of our products, right from our hand cleaner, right to our industrial oil for OEM, they're all food grade. And we have certifications from National Science Foundation, the FDA, Health Canada, the European Chemical Association. The list goes on. So we're at a turning point right now, and this is why I want to speak, and I appreciate the NSBI bringing me here and providing me the opportunity. We have just landed a contract that's been enacted since I accepted this trip. So we're gearing up now to establish an operation in the US to service a contract for one of the 3 largest building products manufacturers in the world. It's a Swiss-based company. And so this is for a roofing product that we developed at their request. So it's proprietary for them. It is it's going to be a private label contract, but that market is worth about 125 million a year. So we'll be selling it through their warehouses. It's private label through them. So it's typical private label deal. But that's only one product It's only one company, and we want to expand. So we want to move the rest of our 25 different products into the market. We want to put the right resources and the right human resources in place to be able to capture the US market. And just as far as market goes, for perspective, if we were going to capture 2% of the global market, we would outstrip every ounce of seed oil that Canada could produce. It's a huge market. I've been fortunate enough to meet with a lot of governments in the EU. That was where we got our first traction, because they're a little further advanced than North America is as far as awareness goes. So I was fortunate to meet, for instance, with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Industry with Poland, where they have millions of acres of farmland underutilized that they're looking to reinvigorate and bring back on board. And so they're interested in our technology in Poland. Similar in Egypt, similar in Nigeria, similar in Angola. So we have interest from these different countries for this reason. We offer the opportunity to reinvigorate the agricultural industry, and it's almost like a socio-economic program with them. So it's a big picture item, but as I said, when I first planned on coming here, I knew we had the contract with the building product manufacturer, but it was just yesterday I got it in my email that we want you to start supplying in July. Yeah. So I have nowhere to operate from. I have a company formed in the US because I knew it was coming, but there's a number of things that have to be put in place quickly, and we have to capture the opportunity and the other opportunities that come from that. As I said, that's one product. We have interest from other multinationals in OEM, automotive manufacturing, in metal forming, in resource extraction. Our one AirPod, while it will produce about 7,000 tons of product a year, it also offsets 20,000 tons of CO2. Just today, I got an email from one of the multinationals we're speaking of. They spoke about the initiative from Canada now, where the existing price of carbon is $50 a ton. And by 2030, they estimate it's going to be $175 a ton. I'm trying to give the broad view. We only have 3 minutes, but it's a big picture item. We have interest in contracts signed in 4 different countries, and we have interest now in the US from this US affiliate of the Swiss company to bring us here and to give us an anchor client to move out to the US market.
Jess?
The $8 million is to build out
The US operation.
and you need manufacturing in the US?
Yes.
As well as sales, I assume.
Yes. One of the reasons that the AirPod is, it's set in a 40-foot container. So it's transportable, it's scalable, and we can slave up to 20 of them together, which is what we're doing in one of the African countries that we have a contract with. So you can build it as you grow in the actual industries. So we'll start here in the US with probably 2 AirPods and start to build those contracts.
It sounds like, is it more likely a financial investor that you're looking for rather than a strategic? Given that it seems like you have a lot of traction already in terms of distribution and
Yes, but a combination of both would be preferable. And the reason is because the building products manufacturer, we were brought to them by an executive from a publicly traded roofing company that said, you know, you're doing this, I think these people are looking for this product. You might be able to make it for them. That's how we got that contract. And so you take that and you look at, like I say, you look at mining companies, you look at utility companies, infrastructure, you look at offshore oil, and all of these have different specific needs and specific ways of capturing those markets. So we do want, you know, investment, but if we could get someone that's well networked in a combination of these, right, that would serve our purposes best.
So I've seen companies in this space in the last couple of years take on strategic investors that you might not have thought of as being interested in the particular product. It's more about the idea, and that they think eventually there might be an intersection between what they're trying to do and what you're doing. So it's, and a good example is a client we have that's a tier 1 automotive supplier. They're investing in things that are might be tangentially related to electrified mobility eventually, but they're essentially power sources, potential power sources for now, turning refuse into from institutions of energy as an example, where you can't quite connect the dots yet, but there's an interest in it. And it's interesting because the farther off that intersection is, maybe the less that strategic feels like they need to have control rights and rovers and things like that in the short term. Whereas, if there's an immediate partnership or kind of exit acquisition potential, then I see the clause in it.
Our original traction was in Europe, and that was because of the environmental awareness, and that was mostly with oil distributors, because they saw their clientele wanting a more environmentally, more biodegradable and safer product.
I mean, there are a lot of funds
Can we
that
just
are.
speak up a little bit? So we're talking to people.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure, sir.
there are some funds that are focused on ESG, right? So if that could be an area where an investor is that, they may not be traditional investors, but I think they would be very interested. I mean, the other thing to consider, I don't know if you're break even in terms of profitability or not, you may not want to dilute yourself. I mean, you're looking for a loan or a convert of some sort, so you keep more of your equity. Things to consider. I don't know, if you're positive cash flow, you can pay down debt, and maybe not, you don't need to dilute yourself.
Would be willing to give up equity to the right partner under the right circumstances. It's all a matter of how you structure the deal, right? So it's those are all possibilities, and the other possibility is to bring money simply into the U.S. firm, not into the corporate. So it has to work for all parties.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to structure it. So before we get into that, what's the proprietary technology?
It's in the technology itself, in the AirPod. So
what is it? How are you, and what kind of feedstock?
The feedstock is canola, soy, peanut oil,
Okay.
and safflower, sunflower oil.
Safflower, yeah.
Each one has different attributes, or acid profile is
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
So we can use them for different products. Then we amplify them with food-safe additives for particular use. So we use...
What kind of additive?
Well, additives, for instance, that are used in cough lozenges or in Green Whip, these type of things. When you look at the function of how they actually work, back in 2014, 2015, we were doing the prototyping, and it worked out that they actually were very proficient in delivering the product to the contaminant or to the lubricant. So it's a combination, and that's the proprietary aspect of it. So the AirPod actually, in the AirPod, there's 8 different reactor tanks. Each tank will produce about 3,000 liters a day of individual products or all the same products, and each one have the inputs of these food-grade additives.
Yeah, I think your first group that you need to meet, if you're serious about being here, is the Mass Clean Energy Center. They're about to get $750 million out of the stimulus funds, and we run a couple of their programs, granting programs. They have an equity arm. They wouldn't write the big check, but we could pull a syndicate together for $8 million. It's not going to be hard for something like this. Now, I was at Stanley Ventures demo day, and I got a freebie from a company that was a WD-40, but with
Yes.
seed oil. And I love this stuff. I have it at home. It works brilliantly. So you have competitors.
Yes.
That's why I was asking about your technology, like what's sort of
Well,
unique about it. Maybe we should take this offline. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Time's up.
Good.
Yeah.
I have a million questions, and it's great technology, and
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Keep that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks to the Consulate General of Canada, Nova Scotia Business Inc., and Foley & Lardner for sponsoring the program. For more information about the CENE and future programs, please visit thecene.org.